Hello and welcome to Dabbling in Journals. As you can see from the title of this video and the selection of pens on my desk, I have fallen down the fountain pen rabbit hole. This is not unusual for people who love journaling and planning and love YouTube videos on journaling and planning, because you see all the pens and it's really fun to try them. And if you spend a lot of time writing, as I do, fountain pens are really lovely to write with, I have discovered. So let's have a little look at my collection. I was inspired to do this video for two reasons. First, one of my viewers requested a fountain pen video, so it's on my list of suggested videos. And secondly, I have a new nib in this pen which I really love and want to share, and that purchase was inspired by a YouTube channel called Inside Kimmy's Mind. I will link that below in case you don't know of that channel. And I've also been inspired to experiment with fountain pens due to the fact that I watch Adventure Denali, so I will link her channel below as well. I'm sure most of you will have heard of it though. It's a really cool channel. Anyway, so this is my pen collection, and my absolute favourite is my brass Kaweco Sport, but I love all of them. It's just that's my favourite. One of the things I love about the Kawecos is obviously the fact that they come in a variety of different colours and they're relatively inexpensive, the coloured ones at least. The brass one is more expensive. And one of the things that I really enjoy is matching my pens to my notebook. So for example, I have this little Kaweco in the Macchiato colour that usually lives in here, and I have a gold clip on it because I have a gold charm. So that one matches that notebook, and then the green one matches my Macchiato notebook and also looks really nice with my olive Traveller's notebook. However, the pen loop that the Travellers company sell is designed to fit their fountain pen or their other pens. They have ballpoint pens and pencils, so it's quite a small pen loop. At the moment I've just got a ballpoint pen in here, but the Kaweco is too fat to fit in here. The lid won't go in. I could clip it like that, I guess, but I don't know how secure that would be. So if I want to use this with this notebook, I would need to find a different pen loop solution, but it does fit in my Macchiato notebook. And then this brass one, which is my favourite, is the one I keep on my everyday carry notebook, this one, and it looks absolutely gorgeous on there in my opinion, especially with my brass charms. And I added a Sheep Sparrow stick-on pen loop to this notebook so that I could make it big enough for this pen. I also have this pen. This is a Diplomat Flame. I guess the best thing is for me to list all the pens down in the description so that if you're interested you can look them up. So this is the Diplomat Flame. I think it's called the Diplomat Traveller, and the reason that I purchased this pen is because it's got a very small, what do you call that? I'm thinking girth. Diameter? I don't know. Anyway, it's slim. It's a very slim pen compared to this fat pen. So it fits into the Travellers Company notebook, and I keep it on my camel, so it fits into their pen loop. That's what I'm trying to say. It fits into their pen loop. I think the colour of this pen looks absolutely gorgeous with the camel, and I have sort of bronzy coloured charms on here. And yeah, it's just lovely. They heat the metal to get all these different colours. I will hopefully zoom in and then you can see there's blue and a sort of lovely rich gold, coppery bronze. I don't know what the names of colours are, but yeah, it's really nice, and it has a silver clip and a silver end. So that's that one. And then the final pen in my collection is a TWSBI Eco, which I have in the orange colour because orange is my favourite colour. And this pen just tends to sit on my desk. And one of the things that's fantastic about this pen is the amount of ink it holds. So, for example, this pen, oops, just takes an ink cartridge. I don't have a converter that fits in this pen, so it just takes a cartridge. And I'll talk about my inks in a minute when I show you how the pen's write. And the Kaweco pens take a small cartridge as well. And they last a fair amount of time, but obviously when they're gone, you have to just put in another cartridge. Okay, now the Kaweco does have a converter available, and I bought one to try. In fact, I should have just left that other pen out. So this is a Kaweco with a converter in it. And you can see how much ink you get compared to, let's open this one up again, compared to a cartridge. So the cartridge holds a lot more ink. Let me put them together. The cartridge, you can see, is much bigger than the converter because you need this length of the plunger to fit into the pen as well. So the converter is really small and doesn't take very much ink at all. And then you've got your cartridge, which takes, I would have thought, twice as much ink. And then, of course, a pen like this one takes even more ink, so writes for much longer before you have to refill it. So let me reassemble all my pens. So if you're new to fountain pens and you're just about to embark on experimenting with them, that's something to bear in mind about the Kawecos. You've either got the converter, which is very tiny, but it does mean you can use bottled inks if you want to play with lots of different colour inks. And you would be able to change the colour quite frequently because it needs refilling quite frequently. And alternatively, you can use ink cartridges. Now, if you have any questions about any of these pens, just let me know and I will do my best to answer them in the comments. Now, the other thing with fountain pens, apart from how you fill them, and there are different mechanisms for filling pens. This one is a twist mechanism, so you just put your pen in and you twist up and it takes up the ink. Oh, and I didn't mention my lovely dip feather pen. This was a gift from my partner and I have to confess, I haven't used it. I mean, I think it's a beautiful decorative item, but perhaps I'll use it now in this video and we'll see how we get on with it. But it terrifies me. That's why I haven't used it. I think I don't want to spoil it because it's beautiful and I have no clue how to do it. Anyway, let's talk nibs next. Obviously, nibs come in different sizes. You can get fine, medium, broad, extra broad, and you can get italic or stub nibs. I don't know what the difference is between an italic and a stub nib, if they're the same thing or slightly different. So you can get these different kinds of nibs. Now, my favourite are the broader nibs. I have quite large handwriting and I like how the ink looks with a broader nib. But I do have a fine nib in this pen because I use this in my planner, and sometimes you want a fine pen when you're writing in a small space. Plus, I think it only came with a fine nib. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I had a choice. The TWSBI comes with a choice of lots of nibs, so you can change the nib in your TWSBI quite easily if you wish to. And the Kawecos come with a range of nibs. And I've just recently bought, as a result of watching Inside Kimmy's Mind video on italic nibs, I've bought an italic nib for my brass sport in the size 1.5, and I'll show you that in a minute. But one thing I wanted to say, if you do have Kaweco pens, is that there are two kinds of nibs and you need to make sure you buy the correct nib for the pen that you have. So in here, they come in these lovely little containers, which is really useful because you can store them safely in here. Now, this is the kind of nib unit that you buy if you have one of the coloured, I suppose it's plastic pens. And all you do to change the nib is unscrew the one that you have and then screw in the new one. In fact, I can show you quite easily. Just take that cartridge off. You would just change your nib by putting the cartridge in that one and screwing it back together. Couldn't be easier. I'm going to go back to my broad. I think it's a broad I've got in here. I will check in a minute. Am I going to get in the middle? But you can see how easy that is to change. Now, one thing to note is that they do come, these nib units come in the colours of the pens. Doesn't mean that you have to stick to it. If I decided that I wanted to have that fine nib on this pen body, it will still fit. I will just have a red top to my pen instead of a Macchiato top to my pen. So you could, if you wanted to have multicoloured pens, you could buy different colour nib units. So that's something to think about. Now, the other type of nib unit that, or nib that Kaweco offer is this kind, and these are for their metal pens. Whoops. Because obviously this is more expensive, they're not going to want, you're not going to want to buy a whole nib unit. These are relatively inexpensive. So with this one, oops, what you have to do is you just take hold of your nib and twist, and the nib will come out, and then you put your new nib and twist it in. So you press it in and twist. So it's still relatively easy, but the point that I'm trying to make is I don't think these are interchangeable. Like, oh, I don't think so anyway. I wonder if they are. Let's find out. No, they're not. So you can't use this kind of nib unit with the metal pens if you've got the metal pen. I'm going to put that back in before I get myself all confused. So you need to buy this kind. Both kinds of nibs are available at coldpens.co.uk, so I'll link those below as well, but that's in the UK obviously, and I'm sure there's plenty of places in the US or wherever you live where you can buy pen nibs. Okay, so that's the two different kind of nib, depending on whether you've got a plastic Kaweco or a metal Kaweco, because they do other metal ones. They do an aluminium one and I think a steel one, as well as the brass one. So I'm really glad before I ordered that I found that out, that there were two different kinds. And also we have different kinds of clip. You buy the clip separately. This is a sort of gold fancy clip. This is a gold plain clip, which I don't have on a pen at the moment. I bought that before I noticed the fancy clips, and I prefer the fancy clips. And this is my favourite colour, as you can see, because I have three. I put gold on this one to go with the charm on that particular notebook, but on these others I have the bronze coloured clip. I'm not going to pull it off, but they just pull off. I said I'm not going to pull it off, and then I pulled it off. Okay, so they have bronze, and I think there's black ones and possibly silver ones, and a lot of people like to match the colour on the end, like that's gold and that one is, looks like it's silver. I don't know, what's that one? No, that one's silver and that one's gold and that one's somewhere in between. Maybe it's just faded. Okay, and obviously this one has silver. I said obviously this one has silver, and then I was really surprised because I was about to say, and obviously this one has brass, and it doesn't. It has a silver logo on the end. Right, so I've shown you my pens, and now I'm going to show you how they write and the different nibs. So I'm just going to take this notebook, which is my just brain dumpy, write anything I like in notebook. I do a bit of hand lettering practice in here and whatever. So let's go to a clean page and we'll see how they write. I don't have good handwriting, by the way. I apologise in advance. Now this TWSBI Eco has a 1.1 stub nib in it, so it's quite a broad nib. If I show you. Try and get it as broad as I can. Of course, if you go the other way, I don't know. If you go the other way, you can make thin lines or thick lines. So this is a TWSBI pen. with. And it works really nicely. And I don't know how to do all that like swishing that people do with their inks, but I just thought I'd just quickly show you the different nibs so that I can show you this one because I love it so much. This is my fine nib. You can see how much finer it is. So that's the thickest line you can get, and a thinner line. And this is my Diplomat. My dog just barked. Diplomat. I can't write when I'm on camera. Traveller. Can't remember how many L's it's spelt with. And it's got a fine nib. And then this one has a broad nib. So this is a Kaweco with a broad nib. Forgot to do my lines. It's pretty much a broad nib. Never done this. I should start one of those little inserts, shouldn't I, with all pens and inks in it. That would be fun. This also has a broad nib, so this is another Kaweco broad nib with a different ink, and I'll talk about the inks in a minute. And nice thick line. You can get a slightly thinner line there, so that's another Kaweco with a broad nib. And then this one, I've got a feeling has a medium. Yeah, this has got a medium nib in it, which isn't writing. Let's just check it's got some ink. Oh no, it hasn't got any ink left. I'll be back. So this is the Kaweco medium nib. And last, and by no means least, I have my brass Kaweco, and this has got the 1.5. I think it was called an italic nib. It might have been called a stub nib. If anyone can tell me what the difference is between italic and stub nibs, please do let me know, unless of course you think they're both the same. So this is a Kaweco. Oops. And I do my little lines. Got a lot of variation depending on how you hold it, and if you can write properly, then that's going to look really nice. And I just wanted to show you an example. This is my personal journal, and the reason I like it is because when I look at the difference, so that's my handwriting with the italic nib in that pen, and that's my handwriting with the same ink but in the broad nib. I just think that looks really much nicer. What do you think? Which do you prefer? I just think I like the way it makes my handwriting look a bit neater, because it's not very neat, my handwriting. So I'm really enjoying this, and I think that if I try different inks, you'll be able to see shading and sheen and all the things that people talk about that I don't yet understand, but I'm going to find out about if you have one of these italic nibs. So thank you very much, Kimmy, from In Kimmy's Mind. I don't know that you watch my channel, but thank you very much for introducing me to these metallic nibs, because I really love it. So let's just talk ink a minute. I don't have a lot of ink either, but I'll share those with you. So in my TWSBI pen, this brown one, this is the diamine or diamine, don't know how you pronounce that either. This is the gingerbread ink. So this colour, I guess, must have been brought out for Christmas. Now this company, Diamine, is a UK company, so these are very easily available for me. It's very dusty. So that's what I keep in my TWSBI Eco at the moment. And then this one that's in my green pen looks almost black. It really does look almost black, doesn't it? I mean, it is green. You can see it is green, but when you write, it looks really dark. And that is the diamine or diamine mistletoe. So that must have been another Christmas coloured ink. And I just think these bottles, they're so gorgeous, sitting on your shelf with their little feet. Aren't they lovely? I really like those. And then my favourite colour ink, which is in my favourite pen, is this one. And I use cartridges for this pen because it's my on-the-go pen. And these are very easy to change on the go, to change a cartridge rather than ink up a pen from a bottle. And this is the Herbin brand, and the colour is Ambre de Bermanie. Don't know how to pronounce that, but I will write all these in the description for you. And that's this colour here, and I just love that colour. And I'm about to start another super lightweight paper insert in my personal journal, and I'm really thinking this colour is going to be great because it's not going to ghost. I didn't show the ghosting. You don't get any bleed through on this paper, but you get, obviously you get some ghosting, and this one shows less obviously because it's a lighter colour than the others. So that's that ink. The ink colour that I just put in this pen, so this one here, maybe I should do that smudgy thing for all the colours, shall I? Get my hands all inky. So that is Kaweco Caramel Brown. I've just finished those, so I'll probably be purchasing a different colour to replace it because I like to try new things. So that was that colour. Let's go with the gingerbread again. Oh, I think I've got green ink on my finger. Didn't think about that, did I? Let's use a different finger. So that is the gingerbread. Then what other colour inks do I have? Oh, I didn't smush this one. I see why they smush it now. You can see the colour, although it's not always the colour it writes. I love that one. And what other colours have I got? This pen has, I can't show you the box because it's got, I used the last one, but it was the Diamine Autumn Oak. In the Diplomat is the Diamine Autumn Oak. It's kind of in between, so that's like a really golden colour, that's a bit more mid-tone, and that's slightly darker. Quite like this one actually. And then the last colour that I have is the, I think it's Diamine again. Yes, it's Diamine Oxblood. What a lovely sounding name in my pen. So where did I write with that one? I think it was this one. It also looks almost black, doesn't it? But then when you smush it, it's like a really deep reddy brown. And I think the colour shows more the bigger the nib. I don't know, what do you think? So that's my little fountain pen collection. And the current inks I have. If any of you have got any suggestions for really cool ink colours to try, then do let me know. I do have more fountain pens on my wish list. I'd like one more Kaweco because I have this beautiful coloured notebook, which the Kaweco do one that I think is called Fox, that I think would be brilliant with this. So I have that on my wish list, and I'm hoping to purchase that before it's no longer available. And there's one other brass pen that I have on my wish list, which I would like because I'd like to experiment more with inks, and it's got a big, bigger converter than the Kawecos, which I really prefer using cartridges with, because the converter for that one is really tiny. Right, and the final thing to do is to test this feather pen, which is a dip pen. I've got ink all over me now. Now, what shall I test it with? I'll test it with the gingerbread. I think I should have some kitchen roll handy because it might be messy. I don't know. Oops. I don't know how you do it. Let's see. I think I did try it when I first got it, but I don't know if I've used it since. I think you just dip it in and then write, I suppose. Oh my goodness. I don't think it works. Because look, I got a big pool of ink there. Perhaps I didn't dip it in far enough. It's done it again. Okay. Oh. Perhaps you have to tap it off. No, that is what it's doing. Okay, so if any of you have any advice on how to use a dip pen, please do let me know. And maybe I should have a look for some videos when I've got some time on how to use it, because either I'm doing something wrong or this nib is not working. I'm just trying to get the ink off. I'll do that off camera. So that is my little collection of fountain pens and inks. I hope you found something interesting or useful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.